What's up, guys, and welcome to the Truth with Jenn podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Litchfield. Much like you, I wear many hats. I'm a business owner, coach, speaker, wife, mom, friend, and much more. In this podcast, I will teach you how to love yourself, respect yourself, and self-validate so that you can make your own decisions. Listen, y'all, it's time to do the damn thing. This is The Truth with Jenn. Hey guys, I would love to be your transformational coach to help you get the results you desire. If you're interested in working together one-on-one, I'm offering you a free 30-minute coaching consultation call to see if we're a good fit for one another. To get your free coaching consultation call scheduled, send me an email at jen@jennlitchfield.com, and my team and I will be sure to get back with you within 48 hours. I look forward to being your coach and helping you grow. Cheers. Hello. Welcome back to the Truth with Jenn podcast. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about family and what my new understanding of the role they play or don't play in your life, and ultimately the bearing they should or shouldn't have on your decision-making process, right? Like as an adult, it gets a little confusing. So a little backstory about why I've always just been interested in this is my mom raised me. My mom and dad divorced when I was 8. And he, for the most part, like he's always been a positive piece of my life. Like any interaction we've had has been very loving, very uplifting, he never downgraded me or it was never nothing but positive when it was there though. But reality is the actual function of his role in my life after they divorced, it changed significantly. And so, and combined with, I've only met one of his family members ever. And it was my Uncle Glenn, and I can't remember him. And I was super young. I was like 4 or 5. And he's since passed away. And so I never met him again or saw him again after 4 or 5. From what I do remember though, what I do hear, and it kind of resonates. So I feel like that's me wanting to remember or me agreeing with my sister's memories about him was he was just really nice. Like I think he took us to like the movies and just he was fun. He was a fun person, which doesn't surprise me because my dad's fun. He's fun. He's funny. So, but for a long time I've struggled with that piece of me. It's like it's a little weird if you think about it. It's like a whole half of me I just don't even know. And so as far as like family ties go, and there are a lot of families when I was growing up and just even still, I mean, my husband's mom and dad are still married after 38. They just celebrated their 38th wedding anniversary. My father-in-law's parents are still married. I mean, the majority of my husband's friends' parents are still married that he grew up with on the East Coast. And so it's just a completely different dynamic just in general, like the approach to our marriage, the approach to solutions, all of it, like problem solving, our kids. I mean, it was just been a learning curve for me in understanding, hey, like just because I didn't have this family dynamic growing up, I got to figure that out now, right? Like I got to make space for that now because my kids and I have a loving, supporting father and husband, willing, ready, capable, able, and is fulfilling that role. I just had to understand in my mind, like how to create that space for him, how to not need to love my kids enough for the both of us, not need to shelter my kids from misunderstanding him or vice versa. Like I feel like in some ways I'm getting better at it. I played referee, and I play referee sometimes, the middleman, trying to like make sure that neither one of them hurt their feelings versus being like, okay, like they're like that. To me, that's actually a disservice to them, right? Like it's a disservice to my kids and my husband to not allow them that space, that working out the kinks of communication instead of like intervening on their behalf in the name of love, in the name of, I don't want anybody's feelings to get hurt. And sometimes it's like, I make a bigger deal of things than it should be. And so it's just it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. It will be forever. It's just interesting. It's just a very interesting dynamic. And I think that when you don't have the traditional family pillars that your friends around you do, or that that media feeds us that we're supposed to have, like a husband, wife, 2 kids, like 2.5 kids, like all the things and advertisements and movies that completely continue to beat the drum of the depiction of what is right, it can make you feel less than. It can make you feel insecure. And it made me as a kid, it put like I don't want to say like a chip on my shoulder really, because I always had friends, but I mean, I never had any issues getting bullied or anything like that. But I also won't stand for that shit either. Just in general, like people don't give me a hard time. It's because I'm not going to take a hard time. And so I don't know if that's like demanding to be respected or what that is actually. I don't know exactly what that is still, but either way, it can be good, but it can also be not. It could be have my boundaries up and intrude in certain areas, such as like my husband's role in my kid's life, if I'm not aware of it, right? Like it's all about growth and evolution now. And I myself, I strive to grow and continue to develop myself always, all day, every day. That's why I got into this profession. That's why I love mindset training and work and working with people and coaching. And I love all that. I love to be held accountable for my own bullshit. Like that's a good thing to me. Right. So, but, it can make you feel a little weird. It can make you feel a little like the need to not let people fully see or know you for all of you, right? Like if I, as a kid, hadn't fully accepted the fact that my parents were divorced or that he wasn't at my games or whatever it is, they can't know that because if I haven't accepted that about myself, right? So it's like, it's about, for me now, and for anyone who's listening, that you don't have the fairy book story upbringing of like, meaning like 2 loving parents, because you can definitely stay married and be a hot ass damn mess, that's for sure. So, but like, 2 loving parents that showed affection and love, healthy, and, you definitely had a definitive role, like mom and dad, cohesive, supportive role of one another. So, that being said, as I've gotten older and more secure within myself, I've been able to just see my dad for the good that he has and really just want to, it's almost like sifting for gold when I meet with him. And it's just about like me being able to be in the moment, listening to his words, learning about his childhood, things that I didn't even know, such as like his favorite color's orange, at like a brighter orange, which is funny enough because that's one of my favorite colors. Or that even just recently I found out that I was thinking in my head that he didn't know how to be a dad. I'm making excuses. That's what we want to do, right? And we do it in the name of love. This excuse was, in my head, I was like, oh, he did the best he could with what he had. Because if his dad wasn't a good dad, he doesn't know how to be a good dad. Like he did the best he could. And the most loving thing he could have done is just really just in his eyes was to just omit him from the situation. And so himself from the situation. And so, but what I've realized is once I was able to accept that our family dynamics and is only your family's meaning and the tie to them and as far as like the outcome of your life and what you're able to, the life you're able to create, the job you're able to have, the kids, the happy marriage, all the things, anything that you feel is limited or stifled or held back from because you didn't have that as a child is not true. It's not true. When I was able to accept that, fully embrace that, surrender that thought to be like, I am my own self. I am autonomous. I am me. Like, I think for myself. Yes, my mom brought me into this world, but at the end of the day, I believe with my whole heart that we all came here. Like, she may be the vessel. She may have been the vessel, and so is my dad. But what am I going to do with it? Like, what? Now what? Right? Like, we're here. Now what? And I believe that once I was able to like feel that, know that, accept that, like make a conscious contact with it, like such as swimming, such as riding a bike. Like once I was able to accept that, the craziest part of that, like surrendering that peace and being like, okay, no matter what, at the end of the day, whatever's happening to me, whatever I create, no matter who my family is, it's still up to me. I have all the options everyone else does, such as like the damn Kennedys, right? Like I have all the options they do. It's just lining up with it. Maybe they have momentum built around this. Maybe people are born into momentum of goodness, right? Like goodness, like meaning like you have momentum going for, you have a college fund, you're financially secure. You have a financial future. Your job, maybe you have a secure job. Like you have these things, these momentum. You're born into momentum of resources, or maybe you're not. But once I accepted that, that's all it really is. That's all it is. That's all it is anyone that I feel like had an upper hand on me growing up, or even still like starting out. It's like oh well, like I believe I wanted that coming here. I believe I wanted to be a leader. I believe I knew I could do what I've already done and achieved and more. Like I didn't want necessarily the starting off point. And I think for my personality, it's because I don't like to feel like something's being I don't like handouts. Don't let me win a board game. Like hell no, do not let me purposely win anything. I want to earn and feel good about whatever it is I have coming to me. Like I like to achieve things and have a huge part and a huge role in it. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for me to know myself enough and be able to realize where it is that what I need to actually like feel fulfilled in my job, feel fulfilled in my project management, feel fulfilled in what I'm growing, feel fulfilled in my just role as a person within my family structure. I think that's a good thing. And I also think that if you are someone who you're so connected with both sides of your family and you do Sunday brunch every Sunday and everything's so wonderful and you enjoy and family's everything to you, I think that's also great. But the biggest thing for me is if that isn't healthy, if that family dynamic, if that family structure and habits of your family growing up, if they aren't what you need and want as an adult, I think it's important for us to understand we have the right to choose who we talk to, including our family. And people that maybe your cousins, maybe whomever, they may feel like you're an asshole for not coming to Christmas. You're an asshole for not coming to Easter. Okay. Okay, their opinion of you is none of your business. If you enjoy your family, go. If it makes you feel good when you're there, go. Run full speed ahead. And lucky for you, if that is the case, that's even more yummy and delicious because there is that anchoring there. We are wired for connection. And when you do have a good, healthy relationship with your parents and with your siblings and with your family, it feels good and secure. And there is a bond there that isn't like any other. I truly do believe that. I think that when it's good and it's strong. It's for real. It's real. Like my bond between my mom and I, rock solid. My sisters and I, rock solid, right? Like, I mean, it's strong. It's good. But if that person makes you feel like shit, it's not, you're not required. Don't hold yourself accountable to go somewhere in a toxic environment just because they have the title of your family. They share the same blood as you. They say, it's your mom, it's your dad. I mean, there's some crazy dynamics for my coaching clients that some things, it blows my mind. In big ways, there's times where I'm like, dude, that is the most loving thing my dad did, because at least he wasn't hindering me. At least he wasn't filling myself with doubt. At least he wasn't doing these, sexually abusing me. Like there's heavy things in family dynamics that you're supposed to just get over, that you're supposed to just overlook, that per their command, per their habits, because they forgave their creepy ass uncle that touched them inappropriately. You're supposed to forgive their creepy ass now brother that touched you. That. Like, I mean that. F that, y'all. Like, if something doesn't feel good as an adult, give yourself the credit, give yourself the respect as an individual to make your own decisions. Don't filter guilt through your decision-making process, because at the end of the day, you could go there and be effing miserable, but like the lead up to that event and the lead up and the ramifications after that it takes on you as a person, like if it drains your energy, if they nitpick your outfit, if they tell you make too much money, or make you feel like they think that you think that you're better than them, when really you're actually dimming your light to fit in with them. That's not good. You're better off at home creating your own family traditions with your friends or with your coworkers, with whomever who actually enjoys your presence, who enjoys your company, who lets you be you. Because if your family doesn't let you be you, the new you, not the 9-year-old you, not the 18-year-old you that got in trouble, did some mischief, and, not like, if every time you go back, all they bring up is your old mistakes and who you used to be and the car you used to drive and the shitty ass boyfriend that you used to have while your husband's sitting there, like, that's disrespectful. Like, to me, that's disrespectful. At some point, just because you didn't move on with your life, I did, right? Like, and this actually isn't, for me, that scenario right there, it felt very, I said that with a lot of conviction, but that's not my example, but I feel that for my clients. Like, I've had to, like, they asked me, Jennifer, should I go to Christmas there? And I asked them, do you want to go to Christmas there? Like, and they're like, well, I never thought about that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you never thought about it? Can you answer that? Like, what was your gut? Well, I would like to see 1 or 2 people, but other than that, no. Like, they make me feel like shit. I'm like, well, and they make my husband feel awkward. And, and they pretty much make her apologize for who she is. And because she continued to grow and evolve. And to me, dude, it's not your responsibility to dim your light. It's not your responsibility to obey the Bible, like honor your mother and father. That stranglehold, that connection that's there, it's false. Because if it's the Bible that's keeping you there, at the end of the day, if we're all God's children, aren't we all brothers and sisters? Which then, where the hell did incest come in? Like, it's come into play? Like, if everything in there is true, and you have to do everything in there, then they're talking out both sides of their mouth in some instances, right? So, like, what I want to tell you is, yes, honor your mother and father and spend every minute with them if you want. But if at some point, any family member, any dynamic that you have in your life, if you feel like it's holding you back, if there's resistance there, try and work through it. If you want to, try and work through it. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is to peel back. You don't have to make a grand announcement like, F y'all, I'm not coming back next year. No, that's not necessary. That's the opposite. That's the opposite of you finding alignment with yourself, which is feeling good. But just peel back. Just peel back a little bit. You don't have to make a grand announcement. Just peel back. Just peel back, because 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either they're going to gain awareness for your healthy boundaries that you establish by saying not confrontational next time. If they say something inappropriate, you say, hey, that's not appropriate. Like, can we move on? Like, that was 10 years ago. I've moved on. Can we move on? Make it very I prefer not to talk about that. I don't want to bring that up. I feel like there's greater things to talk about. Like, can we change the subject? Can we just throw that subject in the ocean? Like, can we move on? And let them answer. And if they can't, then you excuse yourself from the conversation. If need be, you excuse yourself from the house and go back home. Go back home to where you're loved. Go back home to where you're appreciated. Go back home where you're able to be yourself. And that's the biggest thing of it all is I want you guys to understand if you feel a connection to your family, embrace it. That's momentum that's moving. That's great. That's built in comfort and security and loyalty. Like there's some, like, yes, like I would die for my sisters and my mom, like, I mean, ain't nobody coming at them. But they let me be myself, right? Like they love me. They allow me to be in their space different. My sister Missy has not worn eyelashes maybe once to my wedding, fake eyelashes one time. On the other hand, I love that shit. I love fake eyelashes. I love extensions. I love spray tans. There's so many things about me that are way outside of the box of my sisters, but they love me and they embrace me. And I don't feel the need not to do those things in front of them. Not like, nothing hurtful. Like I'm talking about like my preferences, right? Like they don't make me dim that down. I just love them. I can see them for who they are. They can see me for who I am. And if your family does that for you, embrace that. If they don't, they make you feel like shit. It's time to start setting healthy boundaries and start peeling back and just do it slowly over time. But I just wanted to do this episode because it feels heavy on my heart because all this personal development stuff doesn't mean anything if you have the stranglehold of and the imprisoned mind of you can never achieve or do or have or be more than your family was. That's not true. By nature, you must achieve more. And like as far as more, it's like time has evolved. Technology has evolved. There's things that are available and assets and resources that are available to us today far greater than our parents. So why doesn't it make sense for you to make more money than your family? Doesn't it make sense for you to protect your kids from getting sexually abused by family members and sweeping that shit under the rug? Doesn't it make sense to establish new alliances with a new structure and protocol that's less chaotic and less distorted within your own family structure and marriage with your kids, right? Like, doesn't it make more sense for me to allow Russell to have the space to love my kids, for me not to put on my own shoulders the need to absolutely overcompensate because they won't be okay if he doesn't love them enough, right? Like, shouldn't I trust my kids to be able to have that conversation with their dad? Shouldn't I trust their inner strength and their ability to like just take his order and structure and command, if you will? It's not like we command in like the military around our house or anything, but he does demand respect and he does push them further than I do. And I love that. I love that. I see him do things like Lexi putting the diaper wipes into the pull out bins, the colorful bins. He and his dad I'll never forget this. He and his dad were standing there and she was trying to put it up. I just changed her diaper and I have like diapers and wipes in the little cubby thing on the side of the living room. So I was like, okay, here you go, put it up. And so she was trying to like pick her wipes up and she was like on her tippy toes and she couldn't get it in there. She like pushed and it fell and then she pushed and I'm like, they were both standing there watching the TV and I'm like, y'all help her. And they were both watching. I was assuming they weren't watching and aware. And they're like, no, she can do it. No, they didn't even say she can do it. They were like, no. And then sure enough, like she tried like 3 or more times. And then the 4th time she got it in there. And dude, the elation on my 1-year-old's face at the time, she was like, I did it. She, or, I don't even know if she said those words yet, but she like, yeah, I did. She was like so effing proud of herself. And when she did it, they recognized it. They were cheering before she even was. And so that was a lesson for me. That's like, oh, they aren't doing that because they're being mean, or they were doing that out of love. That was a huge lesson for me. They were allowing her the space to grow in that moment. It's just wipes going into a cubby bin. But you see, like, that was a learning moment for me because I allowed it to be and because they required it to be, right? Like, that's both sides of that stick. Like, they're like, no, and I'm not justifying it. Like, there's a method to the madness. And I think that too, now just thinking this out loud, like, that's Russell's dad. Russell's dad did that for Russell. So he knew his dad wasn't going to intervene. And he picked up the vibe, or just, like the same understanding that she's going to do this until she gets it. And more importantly, she can do it. Right. So I just love that. So that's what I have to say about that. Just embrace what feels good. Move away from what doesn't, even just temporarily, and you make your own decisions, not based off of what the Bible tells you to do, not what your family has always done, right? Like, if you want something different, you've got to make changes. Like, do what you've always done, get what you've always got. Like, sometimes you need to make changes, and you get to decide that. I don't get to decide that. You get to decide that. But the point is, you get to decide that. Don't stay in that toxic family dynamic if it doesn't serve you, if it's not what you're creating for your future, for your family. Like, these little eyes are listening. They're watching, right? They're picking up on this shit. So, I think that's something to keep in mind too. So that is it, guys. That's it for this episode, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys, for listening. You can find my podcast and additional episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and any other major audio platforms. To watch the video from the show, you can find it on my Facebook page, which is Jennifer Litchfield, or on my YouTube channel, Jenn Litchfield. And don't forget JENN, 2 N's. If you like the message of my podcast, please go and subscribe, like, and review so we can continue spreading the message of self-love. And please go follow your girl on Instagram at Jenn Litchfield. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you next time.